Hello, everyone. Let's wait for all the people to arrive. We've got a few minutes. How is everyone doing? Can everyone hear me fine? I hope so, at least. Technical difficulties are always weird, but no chance to eliminate them 100%. Hello, Benjamin. Yeah, I try, but we will get there. Alrighty, I think we can start now. So, today we want to speak about what being a test manager is like. I'm Daniel, I'm your host for today, and let's dive right in. So, imagine this. You just got your certification to become a certified test manager from the ISTQB, for example. But then, now what? What is the next step? What can we do about that? What do we do actually in our job? You know the theory, but uh, actually doing it is a completely different kind of beast, that you have to tackle. So, what is this webinar actually about? It's about a day in the life of a test manager. What does a test manager actually do? Because the theory is always one thing, but doing it, yeah, not so much. Some of my personal insights that I've had since I started being a test manager actually, and uh, maybe it's a little bit obvious, but we will see that. And at the very end, we will have a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly because being a test manager can be rough sometimes. So, this is the life of being a test manager in a nutshell. You are basically one person doing X amount of work that should basically be done by multiple people, but since you are the manager, you have to do it instead of all the other guys, right? So let's dissect this a little bit. What do I mean by that? We are managing overwrapped QA stuff. We are sorting through all the tickets that were only done halfway. And to top it all off, drinking an excess amount of coffee. That's just the day of the day in the life of the test manager every time. But let's get more serious for a moment. So this is what my desk looks more or less. Me sitting at the laptop, looking at bugs, having my strategy up, and looking at how our test approach should be, with some test charters that I created, having my checklist up. So let's break it down a little bit more on a serious note. A test manager is mostly moderating dailies or meetings, assigning tasks to the testers, because usually a tester, a test manager doesn't test himself. He could as well if there is some sort of understaffing happening, but he shouldn't in theory. He's the one responsible to report to the stakeholders. He's also planning the other test activities, as well as overlooking the entire test process. And don't forget, always drinking an excess amount of coffee, as usual. So let's dive down on what a test manager actually does. He's being the head of testing. First and foremost, he has to keep his head cool. He's the one person everyone will ask, is something wrong? If something is wrong or unclear, he's the one people actually ask for advice, and he will be the one to blame if something is wrong. So in this case, we are talking about the metrics, reporting, and communication. He's getting in touch with the stakeholders. He's creating charts and infographics for easy ingestion. So the stakeholders are mostly people that are into their business and not really that much into testing. So the test manager is the one person to make the information easily accessible for those people, as well as keeping all the information organized. So easily findable by other people if they want to have a look at that, as well as checking quality trends and risk status to make that to make everyone aware of where we are currently standing. And if you are already having test automation in your software testing suite, you will also have to communicate the automation pass rate, because that could be an indication of our quality of code as well as our test automation quality right now. Next up, building and leading the test team. What does that refer to? You have regular exchange with your colleagues. You are the one checking for potential understaffing or undertraining, which could be a huge issue if you're not always behind that. It happened in the past that, for example, nowadays in the winter time, when we have, for example, the flu going around, you always need to make sure that at least one person is present all the time. Everyone can get sick, and you need to be aware of that you plan ahead, maybe dial down your advancements towards some automation efforts or whatnot, because everyone can get sick at any time, so keep it on the low. And in terms of undertraining, sometimes it happens that, for example, you introduce a new testing software or test automation tool and whatnot. But the problem could arise that the people you staffed for that specifically might not be as skilled as you thought they were. So you need to give them some additional training to get them up and running, so everything runs smoothly at the very end. You are the one responsible for organizing team events and trainings for the entire testing team, because keeping the spirit up is a different task than everyone else has. He is the one responsible to make everyone happy, to say, at the least, because a happy employee is a productive employee at the very end, and the same thing for testing efforts. The better you feel about your job, the better quality comes out of your testing efforts. He's also responsible for giving regular feedback for successes and chances for improvement. Chances for improvement refer to a person is not being bad at something, but you see that he's maybe not up to par with the others. So maybe you give him the chance to improve himself. It might be a little bit of a training, might be just a talk with the other people. Who knows? But that's your job as a test manager in this case. Next up, the daily operational rhythm. We're talking about the stand-ups. We're talking about coordinating environment and availability. We're talking about the test environment in this case. We're checking the automation results for our test automation, maybe for the nightly run or whenever you run your test automation, which is mostly at night. Aligning the teams, so talking about the testing team and the development team and all the other teams that might occur, maybe the business analysts, and you know the drill. Next up, managing quality risks. We are talking about the evaluation of risks, maybe some re-evaluation after some time passed. We are talking about the process evolving risks during sprints or releases. Sometimes it happens so that during a release or right before a release, the risks go up because you have a crucial part of the software that you want to have released. But if that fails, there could be a huge, let's call it, fuck up in the software or in the account management, or you don't know what. And because of that, you have to process that. Evolving risks during sprints could also be like towards the end of a sprint, that you need to have this feature done by the end of the sprint, because that was one of your sprint goals. So the risk could go actually up instead of down. In this case, we have to use the risk levels to focus our testing efforts. If the risk level is higher than the other one on one ticket, focus your efforts on that one, so that one gets focused more. I see a question. Whatever could you mean that risk is increased? I hope that you mean that in a sarcastic kind of way. Um, because right before a release, um, let's say you work at a bank, for example, and you have this crucial feature that can make or break your current release or your upcoming release. And the risk goes up in this case that this stuff has to work in that very moment, right? And if that does not work, yeah, well, tough shit in this case. So yeah, the in theory the risk is always at the same level, but the potential damage is higher right before release, because if you are not 100% certain that it will work, then that could lead to some huge money loss in this case. So where was I? What does a test manager do in terms of managing quality risks? Right. He's also the one to inform stakeholders regarding the current situation, regarding the risk levels and the re-evaluation of risks, and you know the drill. We are talking about that just before. Now we are talking about handling issues and escalations. You are the one to handle the defects, like you are the one to report it to the um, dev teams, for example. Yes, of course, the regular testers could also do that. But if you have a test manager in a project, usually the test manager is the one responsible to coordinate the communication between the different teams. Right, coming up, communication across teams. So talking about the testing team and the devs in this example. Also the one to escalate to the correct people in terms of if a ticket does not get um, corrected, like the bug ticket gets not fixed, or if it has to get refixed because the bug test came out red. So you have to escalate it to the next person. So this ticket can get closed sometime soon, hopefully. Next up, be the one to seek the solution and not a problem. Whenever you're talking to a test manager, he should be the one with the answers, not with the questions. In terms of testing, of course. Usually you can't ask a test manager about business analyst related stuff, even though he should keep in touch with them. Right. So what many people do not see is that the test manager is responsible for the tooling and the automation governance. He's the one to select the tooling usually in terms of test automation, for example. He's the one to define the standards of stuff we use and how we use them. He's the one to ensure stable environments. So, for example, you have your testing environments or your different stages of your pipelines or whatever. He's the one to make sure that everything runs smoothly in this case. He's also the one to align automation with the release cadence. What does that mean? That means we should not interfere with the releases. We should let our test automation run, hopefully a little bit in advance before a release comes up, so we can make adjustments if necessary. Yeah, usually that would be covered by a daily run, but not every company has the luxury of having a daily or nightly run in this case. Right. So some personal insights from my side in this case. My idiot brain thought it might not, it might look difficult, but how can it be that bad? You know, me being a gullible young test manager, and this is me. Nothing to it, right? How bad can it be, right? And then my brain, after being a test manager for a couple of months, looked basically like this. The will to live was slowly diminishing after being a test manager for a couple of months. No, don't mean to discourage anyone, but it's rough if you just realize how the actual work is like. Working with different skilled people, with different minded people, it can get a little bit straining for the brain, let's say that. But don't get discouraged by that. Just my personal experience in that case. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good things. Whenever everything is fine, being a test manager is awesome. You know, having everything run smoothly, you can always communicate that with the other teams. Hey, look, our tests all went green. You did an awesome job as developers. Hey, look, stakeholders, everything is running according to my plan. Fine. So when anything comes up regarding praising, you are also the one to get praised because you did what the others like. Let's turn it around. You made everyone be able to do what they are supposed to do, so you can celebrate the accomplishments of everyone else. Right. So now comes the bad part. Whenever something is wrong, you will always be the one who messed up. You were the one supposed to plan ahead. You are the one to make sure the environments work fine. Everyone is up to task, and yeah, it is bad sometimes. You have to take action if one of your colleagues is not up to par. Speaking about the skill issue, let's say that you are the one responsible to take action to make him be up to par, basically. So could lead to an ugly situation, which I'm coming up to right now. When all your efforts fail to raise someone's skill level, you must let them go, even if it hurts on a personal level. Yeah, we had that situation as well before. Understaffing is one thing, but being staffed to the appropriate level and then having to let someone go because he didn't evolve as the project evolved, or she, that is an ugly feeling. I wouldn't say bad. It's numbing. Let's call it that. And if you were on good terms with the person, but the project, for example, didn't like let that happen in this case, like if it didn't match up with the things you needed in that project, it hurts. It hurts really bad. And also, creating charts and logs for bad information, for example, if something is completely messed up or whatnot, and then presenting them to the stakeholders, that one is ugly. Let me tell you, that is not a good feeling. But on a positive note, let's get to the summary. The certification is only the first step. You know, having a piece of paper is fine and dandy, but try to ease your way into being a test manager. You heard what the tasks are. There's, of course, so much more to it, but we only have so much time to actually talk about it. So, yeah, let's stick with that. You will certainly not regret becoming a test manager, but it might be tough at first. But believe me, it is going to be worth it. So, I think this is it from my side so far. Do you have any particular questions? Can I answer any of your feelings? Can I answer any of your, or maybe comment any of your insights that you might have? So, Benjamin is asking something. How much testing general experience would you recommend someone to get first before officially becoming a test manager? That's an awesome question. What would I suggest in terms of experience? So, as far as I know, you need, at least in like a regulatory kind of way, you need at least 2 years of experience being a software tester. But to be honest, that would be a little bit short-sighted. That's the least amount of time you need. What I would suggest you have at least 3 years, rule of thumb, and also being exposed to a test manager at least, or working in tandem with a test manager, maybe taking up some of his tasks or her tasks. So you get a little bit of your you get your toes wet in this case, you know, that you don't like jump into the ice cold water all at once. Maybe try to read up the ISTQB syllabus for the test manager to get a feeling of what is required from you. And yeah, that should be like the first train stop for you. Just reading up stuff about it. Maybe watch some YouTube tutorials also. Maybe some I don't know reviews of the certifications that also exist on YouTube, as far as I'm aware. So try to get as much information in and do your own educated guess at that point. So is that question answered for you, Benjamin? All right, awesome. So then that would be it for my webinar today. We as Go Bigger, we have current offerings running. We have a LinkedIn page, which you're probably aware of. I think you probably heard of our webinar today from LinkedIn, but it would be awesome if you would leave a like or a follow in our LinkedIn page. It would be greatly appreciated. We leave you the links in the chat. We also have some courses and workshops coming up. You find them under the link that is also provided in the chat soon-ish. Um, we currently provide you with the robot framework certified, what is it called? Certified professional, robot framework certified professional, RFCP, correct? With the preparation course for the exam. We can also book you an exam slot for directly for you in a package. So you might want to give that a try. We also have a what is it called? Like an mock exam where you can try out your skills beforehand, so you don't run into issues when trying out the exam itself. Right. So last but not least, we also have a monthly newsletter called Grow Bigger. Once in a month, we send out the latest and greatest news regarding testing, regarding our company, and what's coming up and what's happening in the world of software testing. So you might want to give that a try. You can always sign out if you want to, but yeah, no strings attached. And we always like to inform you as well as we can. Alrighty, so that's it from my side. Thank you very much for being here, and I wish you all a happy and nice Wednesday. Bye.